Hello! When you have checked your data, the second step in the evaluation phase is data analysis. That's what session 4.2 is about. In this step, you analyze your data in detail and visualize it, but before drawing conclusions. This session is primarily targeted at trial organizers. It might also be interesting for practitioners and solution providers. By completing this session, you should understand the difference between qualitative and quantitative data, what to consider when selecting data analysis techniques, the possibilities for visualizing data such that you can synthesize it, and where you can find help for data analysis.
In the preparation phase, a data collection plan has been set up, as well as evaluation approaches and metrics to analyze the data collected during your trial. Now the trial is over, take your time to analyze the collected data. Have you collected the data during and after the trial? Have you structured and stored the data in a logical way? And are you sure all the collected data is useful for evaluation? In that case, the next question is, how are you going to make sense of the data? How are you going to analyze this data? What are the advantages and disadvantages of visualization? This is quite a task, so you could ask a colleague to help you, or you could even ask for support from a center of expertise. Here you will structure, visualize, and identify patterns. Furthermore, you will put your data in a first relation to your KPIs. First, structure. Start with the sessions of your trial, the 3 dimensions and outcomes for the solutions. Second, aggregate and visualize data. Create relevant paths or pie charts. Third, patterns. What is standing out? Don't hesitate to draw first conclusions and dig deeper to see if your assumptions turns into facts or into unexpected phenomena. The main objective of the data analysis to aggregate and visualize your dataset in order to prepare the synthesis. The evaluation coordinator and the practitioner coordinator will have to spend probably 1 working week on this task.
Episode 33. Data Analysis. When you have checked and double-checked you have all the data, you sit down to analyze it. Did you reach your KPIs? That is the main question in this step. What kind of data did you collect that can be related to those KPIs and metrics? How can you match them? How can you aggregate and visualize your data? You wanted to know something about the level of detail, of time, and whether these solutions sped up the process, and about what the level of impact of these solutions is. So you gather all data you collected about this and try to link, data analysis is mostly about finding relations, and visualize them in one table. If you look at the first indicator about the order of evacuation, you discover the right order was already given by Team 2 in the baseline. Why? The currently used flood map provides a detailed overview of the final flood status. With a lot of expertise in Team 2, with people who know the area and the potential breach location, this team could already predict how the water would flow, and thus which areas to evacuate first and which last. Even without the flood movie being provided, like done in the innovation line. When looking at the first measured time slot, which was about the time needed to make the analysis and have an overview of the situation, you see the innovation line teams were considerably quicker. The observers were asked to note down which parameters have been taken into account to make the decision about the order, being the potential number of people in buildings, their needs for help or assistance to evacuate. For instance, school students can evacuate mostly by themselves, but a hospital requires a lot of support. And the type and availability of infrastructure objects. Both baseline teams spent a long time to find out the available evacuation time until the flood would reach an area. With the innovation solutions, both teams were a factor 2 or 3 faster in establishing such a situational overview. The time slot 2 measurement was not discriminative. All teams spend about 8 minutes to see at which time a building or area needs to be notified it must evacuate. Could this time have been predicted? Your gut feeling tells you yes, because it is mainly a result of the other time slots and the team's decision in which order to evacuate the area. You could have left this measurement out. Then you look at the last period observed, called time slot 3. In the baseline, both teams needed around 1 hour to discuss and document their evacuation strategy. With the solutions, only Team 3 was much faster. What happened? The observer of Team 4 indicated that the decision was ready, but they used the time for discussion. Team 4 consists of members of different countries. They discussed the differences between each other's evacuation procedures. In fact, the decision was ready after 37 minutes, but they did not press the button.
The data you gathered needs to be put into the right context. This is the point in time where you need your three-dimensional approach and see how your gap has been addressed and what more needs to be done to reach that goal. Data analysis is aimed on separating data into understandable and visual pieces. In the next step, the data synthesis, you're going to combine those pieces to new knowledge and comprehension of the trial. So you start with a clean data set. The data analysis techniques you will need are strongly connected to different data types and to the research questions. Visualization might help you to identify patterns in the data. We will first explain also some data analysis techniques to you. Here you want your data separated in 3 dimensions: trial, solution, and crisis management. Look at your data collection plan and especially at the key performance indicators, or in short, KPIs and metrics, that you defined before. What kind of data did you collect that can be related to those KPIs and metrics? How can you match them? If you, for example, wanted to know something about time, of how the solution could speed up the process, then, as a first step, gather all data you collected about time in the steps you are interested in. Here you want your data set. You probably gathered different types of data. Do you remember? Qualitative data does generally not include numbers, whereas quantitative data is all about numbers. Qualitative data in statistics is also known as categorical data. If you start to analyze the data types, you will discover the utility of information for the evaluation. Qualitative data can be observed and recorded. This data type is non-numerical in nature. This type of data is collected through methods of observations, one-to-one interview, conducting focus groups, and similar methods. To be able to select the optimal data analysis methods, you need to know what type of data you are dealing with. The number of methods and techniques for data analysis is huge. You can just look around for yourself on internet and find the right methods that will work for you. In this training module, we cannot inform you about all differences, but we would like to focus on the reason to do data analysis after the trial. So you have identified the type of data. Then you can start with the data analysis, with the methods you know and like best. It is important not to work alone on the data analysis. It is better to choose a team and divide the work. As a team, you can keep each other focused on the main aim of the data analysis, to be able to answer the research questions in the next step. So when you keep the KPIs somewhere in the back of your head while you are looking for relations inside the collected data, make notes, put down quotes, and link them directly to the data. Try to analyze the data objectively and thoroughly, because in the next step, we will already be looking for answers to the research questions. Visualizing data will help you to structure the data and to identify patterns. Try to aggregate the data and create relevant graphs or pie charts. Then you might see patterns or what is standing out. If you present this results in a systematic manner, it will in the end also be easily readable and understandable by the other trial stakeholders. Don't forget to mention the methods you used for the analysis to make it reproducible. And be critical, make clear what works for you, but also what data has led to no results. Don't hesitate to draw first conclusions and dig deeper to see if your assumptions turn into facts or into unexpected phenomena. The output of data analysis should contain valid information and preliminary conclusions. Now you have structured the data according to the 3 dimensions, you have related the data related to KPIs and metrics and have visualized them in the most appropriate way, you have probably identified preliminary patterns. You started the data analysis with a clean dataset, strongly related to the data collection plan. After this step, you end up with valid information and conclusions. The easy-to-use Excel is the most appropriate tool for data aggregation, visualization, and comparative analysis. Different data analysis techniques are available for analysis of qualitative and quantitative data. As a final check of this step, you could ask yourself the following questions. Did you structure the data from each of the sessions of the trial according to the 3 dimensions? Did you relate the data to KPIs and metrics? Did you visualize the data to be able to identify preliminary patterns? Are you sure to process and store the data according to the predefined agreements, e.g., anonymization, etc., as well as GDPR requirements? Now you are ready for the next step, the data synthesis.